was learning to be adaptive, learning to be okay with learning new things, because you're going to stay behind. And I've seen that even now in my own industry, where there's photographers and videographers who have been left behind.
Welcome back to the Passionate Paycheck Podcast. On today's episode, we have Gwen. Hey, Gwen, how's everything?
It's great. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm really excited to deep dive into chisme over here.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
On a Sunday.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. So to get started, go ahead and let the audience know a little bit of your background and what you're currently working on.
Okay. Well, I'm a full-time photographer. I do wedding studio photography for about 10 years. And maybe 2 years ago, we not rebranded, but like added another brand to the company. And I brought on my husband, Mao, and he did video. I do photography. And so we created Hello Enamorada, which is a full-service media company for weddings. We do everything from photo, video, content creation, albums, fine prints. So the whole enchilada, pretty much, of like that you can like imagine when it comes to like media for weddings. And we started that 2 years ago. So it's in its infancy still. There's a lot of kinks we're trying to work through. There's a lot of growth we're still trying to accomplish with the brand. Our whole purpose right now is to expand into other markets. Obviously stay here in the central California, but maybe try to go into Paso Robles and maybe up north to Monterey.
Oh, nice.
However, I'm a big wuss when it comes to like cold weather, so I don't know about Monterey because it can be pretty cold out there. So we're working on that, and then within Hello Enamorada right now, we're working on like a podcast series for our social media channels, and it's called I guess I can say it. We haven't really released it yet, but it's called To Marriage with Love, and it's just bringing some more positive light on marriage, just because I just feel there's so much room for positivity in our social media channels that just adding a little bit of that, I think, is going to brighten up a little bit of, what we kind of scroll through social media. So
nice.
That's exciting.
Nice.
So I know the work that you guys have been doing here is tremendous, and nobody gets so much credit because this stuff is so much work.
They don't see that. They don't see the work behind the scenes.
Yeah, they just think that you guys show up and you're like la 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 la, and then like some you put that in like I don't know some app, and then magically like your video is done, and it's nothing like that.
No, not at all.
It's a lot of work. So thank you guys for putting that out for your community. That just shows how much like you guys are in the aspect of giving, because we were just having this conversation before the camera started rolling, how of people who have businesses and who have a platform and who go out of the way to create something for the community, like that comes from a very, very giving heart. And you guys are doing that, so thank you. Thank you for offering that platform.
Oh yeah, that's what we figured. I kind of looked at Bakersfield and even just the local area, and no one was really letting people explain their story, or kind of just letting people really just give them a platform and give them a voice. So that's kind of why we wanted to bring this to our community.
I love that.
Yeah, so
I love that.
But yeah, it's been fun networking.
I know, right?
That's the best part.
Networking, and if you guys love talking, which I'm sure you do, or else you wouldn't have a podcast. You love the chisme, and like this is the place to be.
Yeah. So what got you into photography?
I'm going to be honest, and this is probably, you hear this from a lot of photographers, like who I was a byproduct of the 2008 recession. Lost my job. I left to San Francisco for like a year and a half and worked with an immigration attorney out there. And then after the year contract was over, I said, man, it's really expensive to live here. There's no way I'm going to make it. But I do have a home base back in Bakersfield. And I had this idea of like, what is the one thing that I have the skill set for and is like not a lot, doesn't require a lot of money for startup. And I said, photography, duh, that makes sense. So I said, I'm going to give myself 6 months. And in 6 months, if nothing is happening, then girl, you got to get back into the corporate world or workforce somehow. And I came back and made it happen. It was terrible though, because I had this like old computer that would take forever to like edit. So it would take me about 6 hours just to edit one little session because of how slow that computer was. But I couldn't afford anything else. You got to work with what you got to work
with what you got,
right?
yeah.
And sometimes that means you got to work harder, until you're able to, maybe work smarter, maybe get a little capital, and then you start outsourcing, and things make more sense. But yeah, it started because of that, and then 10 years down the road, that's when the opportunity came to start Hello Enamorada. And that came because my husband had a change of heart. He was investing in the wrong type of business, and we decided to reroute. We decided to establish, okay, what are our priorities? Because at 40, it's really hard to start over, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's scary as shit. And so we sat down and we said, okay, so what skill sets, and here we are again, right? What skill sets do we have? What can we start with, like the least capital, like amount of capital, and what are our priorities? What are our non-negotiables? And I'm sure, like, as you guys grow your businesses, what are your non-negotiables? For us, we're in a different season of our life. I didn't have a kid, and I wasn't married, back in San Francisco, so I was like, hustle. Hustle is my, like, priority.
That's where I'm at.
Right? That's where you're at. And you're like, no sleep, hustle. For me, that is not good. We have a kid, so, like, for us, our non-negotiable was being home with Nico and having time for ourselves, and also figuring out a way where we can have more stability in our relationship as well. And that made sense to us. So Mao rerouted and said, I will learn video. He already had, photography skills under his belt. And just to see this man, like, reinvent himself at 40 and take a whole year to, like, deep dive into, like, troubleshooting 24/7. I'm surprised he still has all his hair. It was crazy, but it was also super inspiring. It was really, really inspiring to see that happen again. And so that's pretty much where we're at now. Our non-negotiables is being home and trying to grow a business from that priority. And it's definitely a work in progress, for sure.
Yeah.
And we know, and we all know that anything good takes discipline, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to take
And time.
work and time.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. We understand that this new project's going to take some time. And so we're there.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of made him switch to that point to join you and kind of start growing that whole new brand?
It was that. It was like out of the mere fact that what was happening before wasn't working for us.
So just
He was in another industry where it was taking a lot of capital, it was taking a lot of time, and the future didn't seem so bright. Numbers, things didn't make sense anymore. And so I think this is where a lot of entrepreneurs are, like, so, like, deep set on making something work that you forget to take in data, to take in numbers, to say, like, because our egos sometimes are so big that you're like, I don't want to have people say that I failed, right? But the stories that we hear from guys and people and that did big things, there were a series of a lot of failures, in a sense. But it's all how you translate that. It wasn't failures for them. It was, every failure was like a new discovery of information, right? So here is the reason why he said, you know what, it makes no sense. And I'm going to put my ego aside. Doesn't matter. Again, we go back. What are those priorities? What are our non-negotiables? My non-negotiable is this, is spending more time at home and being present as a dad, because I am not going to have that anymore as my child grows. And I'm pretty sure we've talked to so many adults, right, who have this sense of hurt because their parents were too busy working and they didn't have time for them. So I don't hear anybody say, like, oh, I hate my dad because he spends too much time with me. It's usually the latter. And so he said, that is our non-negotiable, we're sticking with it. So that's the reason why he said, this makes more sense, even though I'm going to have to pay a price for it. Okay?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot of capital coming in, and I'm going to have to rewire my brain again to learn something new that I haven't learned before. But when you understand that there's a process, and starting the process sooner than later is going to get you closer to your goal eventually, you say yes to that. So that made sense to us, and we kind of ran with that idea. And so far, it's been really, really good.
Nice.
Really, really good.
What's one of the biggest obstacles of the transition for you guys from you just running the business to now you guys both running the business?
Gosh, Mao's a really good partner. And I always hear this, and maybe it's just our particular situation where marriages say, like, I could never work, with my wife, or I could never work with my husband. Like, it's hard. But it's been the navigating of co-owning has been really, really good, because Mao is such a team player. And he doesn't give you a lot of resistance. So it's great. And sometimes when things don't make sense, he definitely has a lot to say about things. But for me, it's data. If the data is there, then I will be like, yeah, you're right. It makes no sense. Like, why am I doing that? And so we reroute. So in sense of how the shift's been, it's been super smooth. I think the hard part of the switch was the uncertainty that comes with venturing into uncharted territory.
Yeah, change
And drastic change. And when you're an adult and you have a mortgage over your head, you have all these responsibilities, and you have a limited amount of time, it becomes a lot harder and a lot scarier.
Yeah.
But at that point, your adventurous heart, your entrepreneurial heart says, I've done it before. Like, why isn't it going to work this time? And if it doesn't work, we'll reroute, scratch that, and try again. And try it different. And I think we're so stuck in, our egos that we're like, everyone's watching and I don't want to fail. But we know that life is a continual, life. You can have another opportunity, another journey, a big, long journey, right?
Yeah.
And it's in episodes. And every episode, every season is going to teach you something. So it was like trusting in the process, essentially, that we said yes. When we get numbers, when we see data that it's not making sense anymore, then we'll regroup and, figure something else out. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So before he joined you, it was mainly all you, right?
It was mainly all me. It was not mainly all me as far as the income coming in. We had a lot of income coming out because of the business that he was venturing into, restaurants. So there was a lot of money going out there. So we weren't dependent, however, on my income. When Hello Enamorada came on 2 years ago, that's when we said our whole entire, existence financially is going to depend on this brand. And so we had to make it work. There was no other way.
No plan B.
There was no plan B. and then we put stipulations on there, the non-negotiables, right?
Yeah.
What are our non-negotiables? Because we get to start this thing all over again from scratch. But what are the things that we want? What are the things that are going to work, and then we'll build on top of that. So yeah, it was easy in that sense, but it was scary.
Yeah, because you don't know what's on the other end of it.
You never know what's on the other end. Yeah.
So you said in 2008, that's when you're looking at your different skills. So have you always done photography as a child, teen?
I always did photography. Photography was just my first camera I received from a high school teacher, and that was probably the inception of my love for the skill, the creative. And I loved it ever since, but it wasn't something that I thought was viable. And in 2008, when that happened, I think I came in onto the first wave of creatives that came on and disrupted the photography and video industry. So I remember now feeling that way, because we kind of feel it now again. Every kind of, slow market, recession, inflation, whatever, we get an influx of market share, or of people coming in to disrupt the market with really, really low prices because they just don't know any better. And that was me back in 2008. I didn't know any better, right? So I was pulling numbers out of my ass. It's yeah, this sounds good. This number sounds good. We'll just roll with it until you realize you're oh, taxes. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Retirement account. What? No, I want more time. I want a vacation. And so you're I can write the rules for myself. If I was out there looking for a job, right, what would I want? Right. And the job I had was shit. because I was charging nothing. I had no benefits. I had no vacation time. I had no health care. So I had to go back to the drawing board and like learn all those things on my own.
And how long did it take you to learn that?
About 4 years in.
4 years in?
4 years in. But, however, it wasn't until probably 5 or 6 years in where our money started to shrink that I said, nah, this isn't even sustainable. So let's go back to the drawing board and make something that makes sense. And so far it's worked, it's definitely 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years.
Oh, 12. Oh.
Yeah.
So in those 4 years that you're learning the business side, what would you say is one of the biggest lessons you learned?
To take everything in seasons. And ask yourself these 3 things. So 1, figure out what your character deficiencies are. Are you hot-headed? Figure that out. Are you a procrastinator? Fix that. Do you self-sabotage? Fix that. And sometimes, it takes a longer or deeper resources to fix those things. But without the proper skill set, it's going to be really hard to grow and scale. Secondly is prioritize figure out your non-negotiables. Figure out your non-negotiables. What are those? You're working on your own terms. What does that look like? What season are you in your life? In your season right now, Rudy, is growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
hustling and connections. My season for me is rest and presence of mind and heart with my family.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say?
I would say rest. Now, I've been hustling for a long time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So depending on figuring out what season are you in and going full throttle with those priorities, having that, and then and thirdly is knowing that everything is going to take time. We're so accustomed to results and metrics, and sometimes those metrics we figure out that the metric of making more money is the only thing that matters, or having more followers, but that tells us nothing of how fulfilled we are.
Yeah.
Are you fulfilled? Are you resting? How's your mental health? So putting all those little all those 3 things on your item list and figuring out where you fall in will probably give you a better idea of where you want to go or start out. And it gives you a starting point where once you get going, it's going to be really hard to stop you because you have those that end goal. So I would say that would be it for me. Mm-hmm.
And is that something you learned in those 4 years, or is there anything that you learned before that journey that kind of helped you in those 4 years?
No, it was all learned in the battlefield of failures. And that's what I think is we need to look at failures in a lighter way, because we're so harsh on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We just have these deep expectations of how we're supposed to what the results should be, and sometimes the results are learning. The results are experience. The results are growing thicker skin sometimes, and that in itself, it's worth the trouble, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then on your whole 10, 12-year journey of being a photographer, what are some things that helped you grow? As far as your skills for photography and then the business side?
Having boundaries. Having boundaries with yourself sometimes. I'm sure because we love doing certain things. Everyone loves doing something, and most people who are their own boss is because they started that business out of pure joy for serving or for creating or for whatever reason, right? And then there comes a point where you say yes, yes, yes so much that you're saying no, no, no to other things like your health, your mental health, your children, your spouse. And it was me figuring out hey, for you to be able to be a whole person and for your business to grow and your family to thrive, you need to say no. You need to have boundaries, girl, because saying yes, yes is so unsustainable for everyone, and it has a lot of collateral damage for your family and everyone. So I started this practice that I still do now, where I X out because I'm still old school and I still use. Hey, millennial here. I still use the physical calendar. My husband's like, Gwen, and I carry that everywhere, to Europe, to Mexico, to Hawaii, everywhere. And he's like, what if you lose it? I go, I'm not gonna lose it. I carry that thing with me like as well. So, anyways, I still have it. So what I started to do was X out days, right? And in the beginning, it was really easy for me to like, oh, well, it's an extra day. It's not like I'm doing anything. I can do something in the morning. And so I would, erase that X. And so it took some time. And now the X's, I respect my X on that calendar because that's my me time. And even though I have nothing planned for that day, it's amazing to be able to say, like, I can do whatever the hell I want that day. And I don't have to prove myself, I don't have to go through a to-do list. I don't have to hustle that day. I don't have to. It's a free day, essentially, to rest, to, invest back into your family. So giving myself boundaries helped me reconfigure what was important. And it gives you more energy to be a better boss, to be a better leader, to be a better business owner. Nobody works well under pressure for long periods of time because eventually you start burning out. And I don't know if any of you guys like experienced burnout?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so terrible. And people say, oh, nobody understands burnout, right? Because people say burnout, it's like, oh, you're just tired and you're just like flop. No, it's like a physical, like
burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout.
You sleep, you try to get rest, you don't feel rested.
And it takes you a while. And then you even question the fact, like, do I even want to do this anymore?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And it sucks you of life sometimes, the burnout. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants that. So it's like finding the sweet spot between loving what you do, protecting what you do, but trying to figure out how to get money out of what you do, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that's like the secret sauce is figuring out that balance of like how much can I work and skill set, and that's why we were talking about outsourcing and automation and AI.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different
that's another animal
field. It's crazy.
What do you think about the AI for your industry? So I know there's some photographers that like it and other ones that are like, no.
For me, I haven't dealt so much in the editing part. I still do that myself. And I do that because I also don't over photograph or I don't overshoot what they say. So I really just get down to like the essentials of what I plan to, work on that day. And so I'm not like going crazy with like my shutter and pictures. So I'm very conscious of that. So my editing is very, very minimal. And then I don't have to crop, I don't have to straighten, so that helps. And so it's just crafting your skill set so that you don't have to work harder like in post-production.
Oh, okay.
However, I have used AI when it comes to like automations for emails, whole systems of like getting in leads and how, like following through with leads all the way through like consultations and contracts and when they're ready to sign, and then once they're in the system, like what are the touch points, when do I, reach out. So it's definitely helped me because before that it was me just writing it in my physical calendar.
So more of the back end stuff you've kind of used it for.
Yeah. Have you guys used AI?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I use it all the time. Use it every day.
What do you
writing like messages, but a lot of it's like descriptions for like social media because I don't have a lot of time to sit there. Something that'll take me 30 minutes will take me like 30 seconds to write. Just because I know how to prompt it now and I already have like a format. So like once you get a format, you can easily tell your AI just do this, boom. So I use it for that. I've used it for coding. I've never even coded. And
for coding?
Yeah, coding, and then.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I use it.
But where do you take that code?
It's for like on TradingView for like indicators and stuff. This is what I've done it for.
Yeah, you're talking to me in a foreign language.
Yeah, all the trading stuff. But then also I use it for a lot of research. because it'll kind of tell you where to go, and it'll give you more of a breakdown of searching the whole web, then gives you a result. Then you can ask for sources and then go read it yourself if you want to. But I found it helps not search as long on the internet, because it really
condenses it down to what you need, right? Essentially, yeah.
Instead of like, because when you go on Google, you'll ask it a question, and then all these articles come up. Yes, chat or any other AI gives you the answer, because it sources through so many different websites all at the same time. So then it's giving you all this feedback at real time. So I use it a lot of like research and just stuff for my business.
Nice. Your friend, do you use it?
Yeah, I use it kind of the same. Like I've already started doing coding as well, and it's kind of just to write program. If you want to like write like an app, it make you an app and stuff like that. So it can do whatever you want it to do. You just gotta learn how to prompt it and ask that question correctly.
Yeah, ideation. It's so funny, right? People say like, oh, prompt engineering, and it's like literally you're just like the art of communication, right?
Yeah,
the
really more information you can give it, and like the more clear it could be, it'll give you like better answers. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've even messed around where I'll ask it the same thing in different ways, and it gives you different answers.
That's cool.
So,
yeah, my husband Mao's the one that uses it often. So for him, he's gonna hate me for saying this. For him, because he has he's Colombian, right? And even though he's been here for a long time, he still has that Sofia Vergara like Colombian accent. So I'm like, what is happening here? But he's like, it's because I think in Spanish, and thinking in Spanish, if I translate it, it just doesn't sound right. So he's like, ChatGPT has been his like BFF lately.
There you go. Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works. Yeah.
Nice. Are you looking to do more venturing into the AI, or are you kind of just letting Mao do all that?
He's doing that, and I do want to venture in more for purposes of like figuring out systems for my business.
Okay.
Ideations too. Sometimes you have these ideas, but you can't really put them into a chart or put them into a podcast or put them into a project. And so I'm like probably going to venture into like that side of it.
Nice.
That will definitely help make it easier.
Yeah.
Because you'll find the missing link in what you're trying to think, but then it'll be like, oh, and then you
then you go from there. Yeah.
You just keep talking to it, and eventually you just like, oh, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So
I wonder how dependent we're going to become. Because at the end of the day, like ChatGPT and Claude, they're all for profit.
Yeah.
And if like we've learned anything about any new system that comes out that is freely given to us, and we're so addicted to it, and it becomes a subscription, and then that subscription goes higher and higher, and then like it's become so indispensable that you're gonna have to,
Well, it's just like the phone, right?
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to lower it down.
Same thing with the phone. Very hard to survive without this now.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's definitely made our skill sets for sure different,
Yeah.
But there's nothing like going through something and like trialing and erring it, like doing a trial and error, like in the human aspect way. However, it acts as a tool just like anything else. I think people who are using it to, I guess, write for them essentially, or talk for them or whatever, it might not be as like usable, just because at the end of the day, if you come onto a podcast or if you come like, people are going to realize like, you're like, what? I thought you sound so great, like written, but you don't. So it's like, it's not going to give you the ability to work on those muscles, the practice that it takes for you to actually write things and think of things for yourself. So using it as a tool is definitely something that
because I even see it where it can actually help people with their speech, because it can say something and then chat will say, this is a better way of saying it. So now you're getting communication skills from AI that help you communicate better.
Practice, yeah.
So the more you do that and you talk to it and it gives you, and you're reading what it's telling you, it's subconsciously going into your brain. So
and
then
hopefully,
it's training you
to speak properly.
Speak that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something I've noticed as far as like even my speech has even enhanced since using AI more and more and more.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Do you think that it's using the same words with everybody else, and then we're all going to sound the same?
No, because it kind of gets to know you, and
It's personalized.
and the more you talk to it, it learns a little bit more about you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
It's just like, oh, when did I tell you that? And then they'll tell you, and you're like, oh, you mentioned this one
You're
time.
like, you know me better than me.
Yeah, it could be like that.
Ah, eerie.
So when you going back to 2008, how was it on your first gig? Like the first paid gig you got, you're like, oh, nice, I landed
I don't even
my
want to
first.
remember that, honestly. It's like I think I paid them so I could work. It was, the first gig and everything is just terrible, but it's so humbling to go back and remember it. I remember it was like $500 for a wedding I did. It was a friend's, but I was like, hey, I might fuck it up. I might get good pictures. Who knows?
not sure. You're
gonna find
I'm not
out.
sure. And they were like, oh, $400 sounds about right. All right, let's do it. And so we went through with it. And then subsequently so-and-so until I was like, oh, I'm really tired. And it's not that much money.
Oh, seeing all the work and everything you put
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
How did the quality of that project come out?
It was usable. I should probably look back or reach back and be like, hey, do you have your wedding pictures? Can I go through them and just showcase, the humbling beginnings.
You can have
it never
a
looks like it.
beginning and then now.
Current. Yeah, for sure. So that's why I say it's like if you are hiring someone now for something that's going to happen in the future, you're going to get the best version of them. So yeah, catch them while they're cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right, sometimes people are needy. Hustle. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on the hustle at all because I was there years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you started, how were you getting clients? Like referrals, or were you reaching out?
It's just
going to
referrals.
businesses?
But hey, I came on Instagram though. I think it was right after that, 3 years into my business. Man, Instagram was a free grab.
Oh, okay.
Nothing like today. I mean, you were on there and the platform was all yours. Seriously, it was
Before everyone was
you
on.
posted, and if you had 1,000 followers, those 1,000 followers saw your post.
Yeah.
And because it was new,
The
people,
algorithm was different.
it was sweet. It was on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was feed my ego. Yay, everybody, 1,000 people like my posts and they responded, and the engagement was amazing, So that's I contribute that to a lot of my business growth. I know we give ourselves a lot of credit sometimes. Sometimes it's a byproduct of sometimes the way systems work, and that was definitely a big one for me. That's the way kind of the beginning of my business grew.
So I
I had skill sets, guys.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Instagram, but it definitely helped me market, to all the audience. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you find you got a lot of business from there once it kind of was running through?
90% of my business was from there. And then
Okay.
essentially as I grew my pricing, it was more referral, less Instagram, then Instagram
A lot more
changed. And,
referrals.
yeah. Even though right now, still, because now we're working harder for those leads on Instagram, but it's really good number. Most of, I would say probably 70% of our couples come in through Instagram
Oh,
for
nice.
weddings.
Yeah,
Mhm.
nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So what drew you to weddings? Because it sounds like you
I was already
started with them.
I was already doing weddings for a while, but it was in specialty, and also it came at a time where my Gwen Corona photography, it was very curated and very kind of not perfect, but it was very light and airy and the right colors and all this wonderful stuff. And then I went through postpartum right after Nico, and it was a dark, turbulent time. But I kind of wanted to keep some sense of control. So not Hello Nomada, but Gwen Corona photography was still that one thing that held me together, visually, I guess. And when Hello Nomada came, I think it was the renaissance of my creativity again, because my hormones leveled. And I hate to say that, but we are so controlled by our hormones. our insides, our health. You know, it has a lot to do with it. And so it was reawakening, and I said, you know what, I feel so boxed in with Gwen photography because I wanted to share the other stuff that wasn't in line with Gwen, and it just felt like it didn't go. And so I kept it to myself for a long time. And so the opportunity came with Hello Enamorada, and the brand. It's a little more true to color. It's more us. It's more true. It's very like bilingual, and it's very messy at times, but authentic. And I said, I want to show that. Like, I want to show that aspect. I want to show kind of like people connecting in different ways and honoring their quirks and their imperfections. And so we kind of went with that with Hello Nomada, and so I felt like that was through music, just posing differently. And I know it sounds like dumb, but it's just you have another opportunity to introduce yourself, you know, as a new version of yourself. And so that's why I felt like that's why I think I felt so enamored with Hello Enamorada and creating it. And my husband came along, so it was really fun for us, like, to go on trips and do like, hey, let's research some music that we love. And so what does that feel like, you know, and what are our project for the future, like what are the clients that we are trying to attract. And it was just venturing out into a new fun project with the person you love and your like new love for life, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So essentially, you got like a new creative spark.
Yeah, new creative spark for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. And how's that been feeling, like, as far as your creativeness? Do you feel like it's enhanced even further?
Oh yeah, because you're in line with the things that you're doing. I think you feel like you're not working against it. So I feel this, and I can guarantee you a lot of people feel this when they're running their business and they're like, I gotta show up on social media. You know, I gotta show my face. I don't want to show my face. Like, what? And then you realize when you fall in love with what you're doing and the service that you're giving, that shit don't matter. You know, that's the last thing. It's like, I don't care what I look like. I have a message to tell people. You know, I'm really in love with this product, or I'm really in love with the service. Like, that is bigger than like my fear of what people are going to think about me. It's going to be messy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be awkward. Who the hell cares? Just show up. You're showing up for yourself, and not only that, but you're showing up for the people that need to see you, that need your service, that need your product. It's not even about us anymore. So see it changes your perspective from like ego me to like, I have this amazing thing and I want to share it with the world. So yeah, it definitely made it so much easier for us to make that bridge. And I think if people heard that, it'd be like, yeah, you're right.
That makes sense. Yeah. When you say it like that.
And nobody has passion for what you do than you. Nobody. Right. You know, you're not posing. You're not like pretending. And we're in a time where people really don't care. I think as millennials, we came on and we're like, oh, we have to be so perfect. And we kind of like grew with that mentality. And now it's not even about that. You show up as your authentic self. People want value. People want to hear value. People want to see value. You give people value, and they don't care what you look like. You could look all like Folon guy and like, just woken up with like your dark ojeras, and they'll still listen. They'll be like, yes, girl. Preach. Yeah.
So when you first showed your face on social media, you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
kind
of
aspect.
Course. What are people going to think? What is this? And then you fall in love because you worked so much on your brand or your service that don't matter anymore. You've done so much like hours and so much hard work on your thing that it doesn't matter. You don't even matter anymore. You know, and what matters is this baby and this product that you just want to, like, you're so proud of that you want to share it with the world. And it makes it so much easier for anyone to go up and, like, talk about, you know, the things that you are in love with.
Yeah. And since you've turned your passion into a paycheck, how has your inside, like that, you know, that empty feeling some people will feel, has that been like fulfilled for you through your business?
And it wasn't even through my business. I mean, my business pays my bills and it gives me the freedom to be able to enjoy the things that bring me fulfillment, which is the free time, which is good health care if something happens, which is vacation, which is a retirement account. So it was through my business that I was able to build that cushions of protection that like make me feel secure. You know, which is time to rest, time to be with my kid, time to be with my husband. That was the way that I use my business to track the metrics of success. Because I know a lot of people track metrics of success through how much money you made that month, how many leads you closed, how many followers you have, kind of going back to that. And your metrics of success sometimes are off, right? Because you don't know what season. They kind of go hand in hand, like the season of growth for you, the season of rest for you. Your metrics of success might be different. You're like, you know what? I didn't make as much money as last year, but fuck, like I'm enjoying my vacation. I'm enjoying my time off. I'm enjoying being present with my kid. I'm enjoying taking care of myself and mental health. So metrics of success are different in different times. So, yeah. I definitely feel fulfilled. That was a long answer, but yes.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And then for any new photographer thinking about jumping into the industry, what's some pieces of advice you would give to that individual?
Oh my gosh, know your numbers. Be really realistic with your numbers. I think that pulling numbers out of your butt just because you heard so-and-so is charging, $500, you're like, okay, fine, I'll charge $300. Like, you don't know anything. You don't know if that person has a retirement account or they have health insurance. First, know your numbers, your cost of doing business. What does that look like? Include taxes in there and even inflate that if you want. Do you want vacation time? Do you want health insurance? Do you want a retirement account? Like, what does that look like? Know your numbers before you go out there and spit a number. And even if that number isn't the cheapest, I guarantee you, if you do the hard work on the back end, which is building relationships and networking are huge opportunity, like builders. Figuring out your skill set and knowing boundaries from the beginning are going to set you up for a really, really profitable business for the long term. Okay. Like, don't think like short-term results, like for the long term. Like, if you're going into photography to be a photographer for the next 10, 15 years, if you want to set your business up for that, then, or any business for that matter, like that's the way you do it. If you're just looking for a quick buck and like you're on survival mode, yes, do what you got to do. We've all been there, hustle, like do what you got to do. But as soon as you can, come back to those rules, like know your numbers and then build from there. Know your numbers, know your non-negotiables, and then build from there.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Also, you also have a kid now, right? Or you've had the kid.
Yeah.
During your business.
Yeah.
How was that, managing your business and then having the baby as well?
It's been great. Going back to the non-negotiables, it's easy. It's easy when you start off with your non-negotiables. That's what I mean. Because
I see what
in
you
our
mean.
other business, which was the restaurants, we didn't have non-negotiables. It was just a shiny object. It fulfilled egos. It was like a fun thing to do. And like we went full throttle. And it was terrible. It was terrible because we didn't put our non-negotiables out there. Having a kid, and there's like probably Nico's about from 1 to I want to say 3. He's 7 now, and it was like we had definitely to put the brakes on during that time. That I said that we decided to like switch off and like figure out, hey, like this isn't working anymore for something, which is something was being parents and being partners, and it was like super disconnecting for us as parents. And so I felt at times I was like, man, I feel like I'm like a married single mom because I don't see you often. I'd said, remember when we got married and we talked about kids and we said like, hey, our kids are going to be a priority. We forgot that because we were chasing that shiny object. And we're going to become those parents that say, I worked my ass off for my kids. Right? But you weren't there. That kid's not going to remember like how big the house was or even the vacations you took him on. He's going to remember the consistency of how present you were during his childhood. So for us, that made all the sense. And it was this time around when I told you, like, we got to do it again, but we were like, oh, the rules of the game have changed because we're going to build under what we want, not what we think we want the results to be. So if you protect your priorities and you protect those non-negotiables and you build from there, I promise you, you are going to be securing the most important thing for you. Because I'm pretty sure at times, especially when times are tough for us, if you have generally good health and you have your family intact and you have a roof over your home, if you were to say, even if I had $1.5 billion, in assets right now that I can cash out, what would be the most important thing? And you're laying there in bed with your husband and your kid. You're like, this would be the most important thing. So it's having those like priorities and building from there that I think just at least build some sort of security for you.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And since being in the industry in 2008 and then now, how has it changed?
I see it happening all over again, that markets shift all the time. So learning to be adaptive is a huge asset skill for anyone. And I'm sure you guys have navigated different markets and, the rug slipped from under your feet and you're like, whoa, what? Things are not feeling good. Things are not looking right. The market's shifting. We don't have insider information like most people do with holding a lot of assets. So then you go digging, you go asking questions, and you're always trying to stay on top. So I think more than anything, these disruptive markets, what it has taught me, especially when I came into one, was learning to be adaptive, learning to be okay with learning new things, because you're going to stay behind. And I've seen that even now in my own industry, where there's photographers and videographers who have been left behind because they did not adapt well. And one of those adapting is showing your face up on socials and giving more information, giving more value to people. Being up in center. And I think to people, it's like, oh, I got to do that. It's like, if you feel like you got to do that, like you're not in the right mindset. Because you're probably then just working for a paycheck. You're not working from abundance. You're not working from a place of where you love what you do so much that you want to share it with the world. And so it's like changing that, dynamic. So I see that, the same thing happening, like you have to be adaptive. And I saw it like when I started, digital was kind of big and there was a lot of old school photographers who were like, yeah, we don't want to shoot like that. We don't want to photograph like that. That's a trend. Well, guess what? That trend pretty much took you under.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same thing happening here, It's like, yes, trends, but now you have the wisdom. Now we have that wisdom of like, okay, there's definitely rules to the game, and there's a new trend, there's a new market, and there's a lot of competition. So you take all this information together and you navigate, knowing all that information, and then you introduce your brand or your service or your product in this light that speaks to the new market. So speaking to the new market is really important, right? Because how we spoke to the markets 10 years ago is so irrelevant, and it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have seen that. How long have you been doing automotive?
13 years.
13 years. Mm-hmm. Did you see I'm sure you were around.
A lot of changes.
Right, a lot of changes in technology, a lot of changes in the way you do things, a lot of changes even with your clients. I'm sure just the way you talk to them, the things that are important to them have changed. I'm sure for you as well. How long have you been doing?
I've been doing this business for mobility since 2022, but I've been in fitness since I was 20 years. So I've been following fitness, and I've seen
Yeah.
it even like
And you've seen the
the
changes.
trends, the new workouts, the new programs, the fads,
Everything changes.
everything's just in cycles.
Right, but you're staying relevant, right? You're
Yeah.
keeping relevant. You're not saying la 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 la. I don't want to do that. It's a trend. It's like, no, guys, it's moving. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Exactly with AI and everything. It's like, oh, it's just a fad. It's like if you're not using it now, you're already behind.
Yep.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
It's just the learning curve, just learning it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I don't think people even realize with the AI is learn now, because 2-3 years it's going to be
It's gonna be too advanced for them.
Yeah, not even like
you try and learn
in
it.
3 months, 4
you're gonna
months.
be like, what the heck?
It's probably one of the like
Fastest.
fastest like changing, right? Like industries. It's AI right now because it's revolutionary, and what is true now might not be in 2 weeks. So like
Yeah.
at least,
Because it's
staying on top of
self-learning.
things.
It's self-learning, so always staying on top of the AIs and seeing how it can just benefit you. And even if you're looking for another side of income, you can look at AI and give you all these ideas on how to make more money here, whatever you're trying to do.
Absolutely. And I think part of it, and I see this in both of you guys, it's like that inquisitive spirit of like always like leaving room for more.
Oh, yeah.
There's always room for more, and there's just passion to be curious.
Yeah.
And I tell you that comes with good mental health, because you don't have that when you're not all there. When your hormones aren't right. Hormones. I'm going to talk about hormones because I'm in like that era now. Like getting all that shit under control is going to level-headed. Because even if you think like in women, there's this thing called like perimenopause. You guys don't know anything about it, probably.
I know a little
And
bit.
menopause.
My mom told me about it.
It's hell.
That's what she said.
It's hell. And so you have these women who are not functioning when they get to a certain age, right? And like most women, they're like all going crazy, and they're all giving, Xanax and like antidepressants. But it's like all women can't be going crazy all of a sudden when they turn 35 to 40. Like, what is happening? And so the great thing is that now we have more resources. I just feel like so like a deep hurt for all the women who came before us, who were just who were treated as like crazy ladies, and here's you're bipolar, and you here, take some Xanax, you're just crazy. But like feeling it myself as someone who has always been a functioning, healthy like person with like inquisitive in mind and just very creative, having that stuff like stolen from you and stripped from you is not a fun place to be. You're just a walking soulless person. Like if you can imagine that you're living in a third dimension and there is nothing that excites you.
No drive, no
There's
motivation.
nothing that even pisses you off. No motivation.
No emotion.
No emotion.
Wow.
Nothing. That's what it feels like to be unbalanced hormonally. And now we have these resources, right? Now we have like hormone therapy, and I know you guys had Anna Marie here in a previous podcast talking about like,
Yeah,
all
she
this,
does a lot of that.
all of this.
that work.
There's so many resources out there. So if you're feeling off, okay, and this interrupts your life literally. So it's going to interrupt your goal setting. It's going to interrupt your business running. It's going to interrupt everything. Goes to shit. Like go get tested. Go get figured out. Essentially,
Get your health in order.
get your health in order.
I think
you're
that's-
not going crazy. I promise you.
And I think that's one thing a lot of people take for granted is the health until it's not there no more. They're like, oh.
Yeah, once it's too late.
Yeah. So I think more people need to be proactive instead of reactive to their situation.
Yeah. And I know there's always, we hold space for mental health in like all industries, and sometimes, very many times, you do need medication for it. Obviously there's a lot of steps before you say, okay, yeah, there's nothing actually that, fixes this particular situation. So yes, you go get medicated. I can't say medications are evil at all, because you do what you got to do to function.
Yeah,
At the end of the day,
exactly.
you do what you got to do to like make it work for you. Because I would never want to be in those shoes. I don't think anybody does. So for those people who talk about mental health and they're like, oh, you just don't have things to do. It's like, gosh, I just wish I never went through this, because it's not even about that. What human wants to feel useless? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. So yeah, do whatever you got to do. We're all here and we're traveling the same, not the same journey, but we're just trying to make things work. So do what
Yep.
works for you.
Trying to enjoy life.
Absolutely.
So with running a business for the last 12 years, how's the stress management? What are some things you kind of do with when things start feeling like overwhelmed?
I give myself days off. Yeah. And days off, like completely to do nothing, to vegetate if I want to. I have a little walking pad in my room, so that's definitely helped a lot. Kind of like in the moving part, sometimes the seasons where you don't have time. And so it's like, yeah, I got to make time. Like your health is number one. That's been one of the things, but time. And unfortunately, when you're self-employed, you have to like make enough money to give yourself that time, you know, because then if not, you're not going to be able to get off that like treadmill of like hustle all the time. So yeah, allow time for you to like recharge and regroup and, you know, keep working because it's for the long run.
Oh yeah. Definitely. And what are some things you do for like your self-growth?
For my self-growth, oh goodness, I read. Not often, but I try to. Podcast have been like my biggest thing of resources right now. Investing in like mentors, investing in courses where I feel like I need, you know, like some skill sets. But that's definitely always invest in yourself in one form or another, whether it's through, you know, like health or resources or acquiring new skills. And that also is going to set you up for what I told you, to stay relevant, you know, because you're acquiring new stuff and we don't know it all.
Yeah. Figure it out as we go.
Yeah. And say yes to help for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then now that you have like the new series, you said you're starting the podcast, right?
We're starting a podcast. Yeah. It's called To Marriage with Love.
So is that essentially just going to talk about the good of marriage and being together?
We're going to highlight,
household?
we're going to highlight in a really positive way the just the playfulness of being married. It's not going to be couples therapy. So we're not going to be sitting like this with a couch, but like, tell me your problems. Like that's not where I want to go. Although there is something like that on TikTok, I think you can go watch. But no, for us, it's going to be more advocating for the playful parts of being married and like celebrating and highlighting in a constructive form, the troubles, yes, you know, and the turbulences that go through marriage, but in talking about some stuff that may be taboo, but people will think it's taboo just because we don't talk about it, not because it doesn't happen, you know, but it happens often. And just being more real and kind of standing up for, you know, the way we feel about the brand, being more authentic.
Nice.
And not pretending to be something we aren't.
I like it. What made you guys go that route with the podcast?
It was that. It was like saying, okay, well, I don't want to do something just to do it, even though it's just pure entertainment. And honestly, giving couples also opportunity to come in and do something fun and different.
Well, you're going to have couples on too.
Yeah. So they're going to be couples. They're going to be coming in, and we're going to be doing some icebreakers, challenges, asking them questions. And we're kind of halfway through, so we've already had a few episodes. Like we filmed some episodes, and we're still in the works of like, you know, editing and then releasing them hopefully like the beginning of July. But just having the interaction and then like having them also tell us at the end of the show, it's like, oh my God, thank you. We didn't think it was going to be that fun, but it kind of like took us out of our shell too. And it was a really fun time.
So was it more fun than you thought?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And even though that's one project, we definitely want to do more series that are like different. So we'll see. We have a few projects coming up, and this one's more, I want to say safe in a sense, you know, it's our new like project. So we want it to be received well. So one thing I knew that I didn't want to do is do clickbait.
Yeah.
It's not what our brand stands for. And even though we have a lot of crazy wedding bloopers and wedding stuff, we were very strategic of the stuff that we share. You know, and I know sometimes in efforts to go viral, people sell their soul to the devil, essentially. They're like, who cares, you know? For example, like, I don't know how I would feel if I was a bride and my photographer was, you know, utilizing, you know, my aunt falling down and like in my wedding and and like, you know, like
Not
making
right.
big money of it.
It's just not right.
Unless, of course, you do it to where like, hey, by the way, this is what we're going to do, and I need your release.
Yeah.
You know, for this video, is your aunt okay?
I'll
Like,
give you
we're going to do
percentage if we make money.
Yeah, and like this is the way it's going to go. And so, but then that opens up a lot of stuff. So I think that comes back to
Transparency.
privacy, right?
Yeah.
Privacy and transparency is like, where are your boundaries, and having that clear communication and that respect for like your couples and your clients as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that could be scary. You know,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen some of this stuff, and I'm just like looking at it from another perspective. I'm like, oh, I hope they actually got released for that, because if they did, it'd be like super cool, because it's like really cringe and really not
Sometimes
cool.
you see some crazy stuff. You're like, oh.
I don't know. You know, so at the demise of like of being of utilizing material that other people have paid us for, and for us to turn around and kind of like just like bring it to light in just for clickbait is just not something that we want. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Just staying authentic at the end of the day. with
Yeah,
that.
and you have to have, again, boundaries, right? Because things can get so misconstrued on social media so easily. I mean, you could say the sky's blue, and people are like, no, it's not. You're terrible for thinking that.
Yeah, social
I mean, you
media
can't
is
win.
something else. Yeah.
You can't win. You can't win. So, like, being more strategic and trying to, like, you know, at least control the narrative sometimes can help you.
Nice. And do you guys have a Instagram for the podcast?
Not the podcast. We have our everything on our Hello Enamorada page,
Okay.
which is Hello Enamorada.
Okay, so the podcast is going to be on that page as well.
It's going to be clips of it, but we have YouTube. We're probably going to release the full episodes on YouTube.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. We wanted to first make it like short form just for socials, but we're like, you know what, let's just
Go long
also
form.
put it long form and put it on
turn
YouTube.
it to short form.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
essentially all we do too. Just
Yeah.
take the big conversation and get the nuts and bolts
Yeah.
to
And
kind
then
of help traffic everyone.
drop it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's exciting. Got a lot of good things on the horizon.
Yeah, lots of fun projects. Yeah. I love creating. I'm sure you guys do.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been amazing doing this whole thing. And just like you said earlier, just providing an outlet for the community. And just really getting to know different people's perspectives. And we always find it always comes back to the mind with everything. Is how you're saying good mental health will help you have more clarity, have these ideas, have jumping off of the bridge to go try a new venture, stuff like that. So it's been a blessing, and then having people like you on the podcast as well has been a blessing. Just different entrepreneurs giving their stories, because you started in 2008. The last person we had, that's when he started his business. He started his business in 2008.
Yeah.
See, it
That
was
was
that
rough.
wave of opportunity.
It was rough.
Yeah. And so, like, for us who are already kind of like veterans, we feel disrupted because it's the wave of opportunity for new people.
Yeah.
We were the opportunists, I'm kidding, of
At
like
that time.
2008, right? And like, there was established market that we were like, where are these kids coming from? Like, who do you think you are? You know?
And like you said, I definitely see it coming now that times being kind of rough lately. And I believe they're going to get a little bit rougher for everybody. So then there's the new rush that you just said, that it's coming in and it's going to reinvent the wheel or whatever
Yeah.
tweaks is going to happen
Yeah,
now.
and so we're in the game, right?
We're in the game.
We're not in the silence anymore.
Yeah.
We're in the game, but we're still like, okay, we're catching all this information, making sure that our wisdom, and then we shine down on our services and make sure that we're like, you know, we're putting our clients first. What are the things that differentiate us from the people charging less? What is that difference, you know? And making sure that you have enough also too, that you've built a really good business that'll sustain you through the rough times, right?
Yeah.
Because we hear all these like companies going bankrupt, right? And we think, oh, they're going down. They're not going down. They're just like hiding away for a little bit. You know, they're selling all the stuff
They
that's
know-
not
they
making
know what's
sense to
going
them.
on. They recognize.
Shaving off things and then reinventing themselves, coming back in, but they don't lose money.
No.
They do not lose money. So it's like tapering away the things, shaving off, you know, like the stuff that is like really top heavy for your finances, and going back to the basics. And so that's why sometimes people will be, you know, start to lay off people, and it's not a sign of like, oh my God, you know, you're going to be failing. Actually, you're saving your business from failure if you think like proactively like that.
Well, I'm ready with AI.
Yeah.
Ready to innovate.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity. That's the new wave, of opportunity. There's
It
so
really
many ways.
is, and it's all perspective too. You can either look at it like, oh, it's gonna take over. Oh, I'm gonna use this to help take over whatever business I'm doing, because it can enhance the speed of your learning too if you know how to use it.
Yeah.
'Cause I even had a client. Her kid was on the spectrum. He would always have trouble with school all the way until he was about junior. Once he started learning AI, he started getting straight A's.
Wow.
Using AI to help him learn.
That's impressive.
So the fact that you can learn from it depending on your learning skill, because you can teach AI how you learn, and it will make it very simplified to the point where you're like, oh, that makes sense. So-
Yeah, no, it's definitely the new gold rush of our times, for sure. And people are like, how do we do it? How do we use it? And so, essentially, just like anything, right? Any new tool, we want to maximize it, but it's through learning the basics of the skill, then building on from there.
Yeah.
For sure, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Same
The
here.
only
Oh, yeah.
thing I do want is for them to legislate it. Just because as any tool, it can be used in
the
such
other
bad
side,
ways.
yeah.
Like the deep fakes and all that stuff.
That's
And
already being used.
Yeah.
You can't stop
I'm like,
it.
just legislate it.
Like even like the new Google AI, they create like the video like that in 2 minutes, and it looks like a real person talking about the news. And like,
Yeah, so we have to tread really carefully with that, right? Because it's
Yeah.
a great tool, but then at the end of the day, it's gonna spit out so much useless garbage at the end of the day that maybe the only thing that I'm not scared of, but I'm like, oh, let's watch out for that, is that there's just gonna be so much garbage on the internet that it's
What's
gonna
real?
self-implode. Maybe, and we already have the new generation that is very anti-internet and very anti-social media, and they're just like on Snapchat maybe, but most of the time they're like, we're done with this. We don't really care for it. So we'll see maybe where that takes us, because the amount of like poop that you're able to generate out into the world is going to be so much that people are like, I don't even believe anything anymore.
Yeah,
Why am I even
that's-
on here?
Yeah, what's real and what's not is going to be the next, I think, wave of AI. Like, is this real? Is this not? And then there's obviously, I feel like, going to be AI programs to run videos and text to see if that's real or not.
Yeah,
Because because of
run it through this.
distinguishing-
Run it through this program just to authenticate the information.
Yeah,
authenticate,
because
Yeah.
you've seen those deep fakes and those things look
Yeah, they're
crazy.
so real.
You're like,
Yeah.
like what the hell? Sounds just like the person. Movements of the lips, everything's the same.
Yeah. And
So-
every new thing is actually too. It's like it's again like how you view things, right? Because people who are in like the concerts or the in-person sales or all that stuff, man, that's a huge opportunity for them to kind of come back to, because people are like, you know what? I don't want a virtual meeting. I want to meet with you in person.
Yeah.
I want to see that you're in person. Where's your office? Like maybe that's going to come back. So depending on how you see things, you can market any opportunity, to your
Yeah.
benefit. Yeah. So
Yep.
I'm excited to see where we go.
Just keep on learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll go ahead and start wrapping up the podcast. So for this last piece, if you can give one piece of advice to people on just life.
Oh my gosh, life. I think I'm gonna go with the motto that I have right now, which is done is better than perfect. Just get started. I think there comes a time where you're gonna just be really tired of being on the sidelines and watching people who may not have the skill sets that you have, like attracting your market.
Yeah.
Catching that market attention because they're doing something different and they're showing up for, their people or on social media or whatever. And you're over here saying, but I'm entitled. Like, I have all this experience and I've worked so hard. Like, what the fuck? What is happening? Why are they getting all the attention? So maybe it's that. It's maybe getting started and being comfortable with being vulnerable and learning something new and saying yes to something that, might open the door to new opportunities. And I'm not saying that social media is the only way. I mean, stop playing on the sidelines. If your thing is like making relationships, then go out there and make them. Go make those connections, you know? Get yourself dressed up and show up. Be in the rooms that you need to be in. Done is better than perfect, even if you don't sound eloquent, even if you don't know what to say. Just show up. People love authenticity, you know? You don't have to be perfect. People could see through you, surprisingly, you know? People are really good at catching, like, those little flaws of people that you're like, oh, you're too perfect, and this sounds really rehearsed. So, just go out there and do it. Yeah. Done is better than perfect.
I like it.
Good one.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thanks for, like, just, you know, having time for chisme on a Sunday morning. That was really kind of you guys.
Oh, yeah. So we'll catch you guys on the next episode. What's your story?